Olivia just disrespected my daughter in front of the handlers. Who the hell does she think she is? Georgina's mother was taken aback. At last, Frances's mother broke the awkward silence. Oh, of course that makes sense that you can't show Georgina around. You're one of the busiest young people in the city these days. She was being polite, but she was surprised Olivia had turned down her suggestion to befriend Georgina. She found herself in an uncomfortable position. Are Olivia and Frances really too busy to take on a new friend? Georgina seethed inside. Did both of them just reject me and in front of everyone? She was so angry she thought her skin might catch on fire. What is going on? Is this some kind of joke? I'm Georgina Crawford. Who do they think they are? They are nothing. I don't even want to be friends with Olivia anyway, so I don't care. Everyone stewed in the awkward tension. Georgina kept her smile on her face, but she clenched her wine glass so forcefully it looked as though she might shatter it in her hand. It's a good thing for young people to keep busy. Georgina's mother laughed to save the conversation. Which school are you both attending? I was just getting ready to transfer Georgina into a school in New York City. You're going to be staying for a long time, then? Frances's mother asked. I'm not sure exactly how long. Exactly. Georgina's mother smiled casually. We've been abroad all these years. I'm not sure how Georgina will like American education. I see. Frances's father nodded. Frances and Olivia both attend Marshall School. Oh no, Marshall is the last place where we need her. Olivia grumbled internally. Marshall is a very good school. Georgina's mother nodded. If she transfers to Marshall, Georgina. Marshall School is pretty competitive. The academics are rigorous and the admissions are very tough. Maybe Georgina should consider transferring to Constance Billard instead. Olivia interrupted. Georgina's mother was speechless. Her plan was falling flat on its face. She had hoped to pair up Frances and Georgina that night and expected them to hit it off, maybe make plans to spend more time together. Instead, Frances said that he was too busy, and Olivia was embarrassing her in front of the whole Handler family. She really thought the idea of sending Georgina to the same school as Frances was the perfect solution. But just like that, Olivia deflected her efforts again. How do you know I won't succeed at Marshall? Georgina asked. She had given up on trying to smile. Who does Olivia think she is? Oh, I was just trying to be helpful. Olivia looked Georgina over and said, We also have a strict dress code. Not sure if that's your style. Not to mention your criminal record. Olivia scoffed internally. She thinks she can waltz into our high school. Georgina is going to be a huge problem. A classic Crawford just like her sister Carolina. I'm still trying to figure out which family Millie is really biologically connected to. I can't afford to deal with a meddling Crawford time bomb being added to the mix at school. That is all bad news and not a single silver lining. The matter yesterday was a misunderstanding. Georgina repeated firmly, her expression darkening. The police did their investigation, saw the mistake, and they let me go. Olivia smiled coldly at Georgina. Even though Frances's parents did not know all of the facts about what happened between Olivia, Georgina, and the police, it was clear there was a lot of tension between the two girls. Frances's mother looked at Olivia, then at Georgina, and moved to change the topic. Hey, where is Lena? She asked Frances. Lena? Frances did not understand why his mother was bringing up Lena all of a sudden. He was caught off guard for a moment, then replied, Lena said she still had something to do and asked me to come down first. Morgana is up with her and they'll come down soon. You silly boy. Frances's mother rolled her eyes at him. You didn't insist on waiting for her? She shook her head. My son really has no sense. Should I have waited? I can go back. Frances shrugged sheepishly. Go back and accompany her down here, Olivia advised. There are some steps on the way from the room to the elevator. Morgana might need help getting Lena over those. Oh, that's right. Frances suddenly remembered. There were indeed some steps on the way to the elevator that would be difficult for Lena to navigate in her wheelchair. I'll head up there right now. Hurry up, Francis's mother urged. While you're up there, pay attention and behave yourself. Be a gentleman, she hissed in his ear. Okay, Francis nodded and retreated towards the elevator. Georgina's mother overheard Francis's quick exchange with his mother. She suddenly had a bad feeling. She hesitantly asked, So, Lena is Francis's girlfriend. Mrs. Handler smiled proudly. She is so very cute. I really don't know how Francis managed to trick her into liking him. I'm finding out he's such an oblivious goof. She laughed nervously. What do you mean, how did he manage? Mr. Handler asked, slightly offended on Francis's behalf. Our son isn't that bad. Oh, you just haven't been paying attention. I should have done a better job, too. Mrs. Handler lamented. We don't need to dwell on it any more tonight. Georgina was stunned to hear that Francis already had a girlfriend. Why did my mother think she could set me up with him? This is so embarrassing. No wonder he didn't want to show me around. I see, and which family is she from? Georgina's mother asked with a tight smile. Up to that point, she had been so optimistic about the prospect of connecting her daughter to the Handler family. Their reputation and success made them an excellent match for her daughter to marry. On top of that, the family generally seemed to be decent. She was fond of Francis's mother as an old friend. If Georgina married Francis, she would have a good standing in society, and it would be advantageous. It was the perfect plan. Now it's all ruined because some other girl came out of nowhere? How did this happen? I have to know who she is. Lena isn't really from New York, but she's another student at the Marshall School, Francis's mother replied. I don't know her family background, but she's an impressive young lady. You haven't looked into it yet? Georgina's mother gasped. I know it's normal for young people these days to date and mingle, especially when it's not serious. But if they're considering marriage, it's vital information. I'm surprised you didn't find out right away. It's really up to them. Francis's mother smiled and waved her hand. They don't need to be under so much pressure yet. I'm happy that Francis is happy. I'm really surprised you're so relaxed about this. Georgina's mother shook her head. How do you know she doesn't have anything to count against her? Is the family respectable? What if she's just taking advantage? It sounds extreme of me to say, but I've seen this sort of situation many times back in Europe. I don't mean to offend or judge too harshly, and it might not be pleasant to hear, but you have to consider these things. I'm saying this as your friend. It's all right, Francis's mother smiled. You'll see what I mean when you meet her. Lena is so sweet and sincere about her feelings. She's a lovely girl. I really do like her, and you will too. Georgina laughed skeptically. Right now, there are a lot of outsiders trying to claw their way in among the good families. She might seem nice, but you can't really know if you don't know about her family, can you? What if she doesn't really belong? No offense. Georgina said innocently. Georgina's mind was racing. This random girl is not going to derail my plans. I came here to get to know Francis Handler. I already did my job and made a great impression with his parents, and Francis just has a girlfriend already? Georgina's right about things not belonging sometimes, Olivia answered coolly. This outfit, for instance, she said, gesturing to Georgina's revealing dress. Is this really appropriate for the Handler family gala? This isn't an award show in Hollywood. I would think an insider would know better. Georgina was completely taken aback. What are you trying to say? She wanted to add, why do you have to be such a bitch, Olivia? But she knew she still had to be tactful. Georgina straightened her shoulders and tried to calm herself down. I'm not sure why you're offended and getting back at me. I wasn't talking about you being an outsider, was I? No, but you were talking about one of my best friends, and I'm not going to let you say such rude things without any comment. If we're going to start just saying whatever we want, then I'm just following your lead. Georgina's eyes widened and her face grew hot. She had not expected to be called out in front of everyone like that. Then I really apologize, Georgina said carefully. I did not know that she is your friend. I shouldn't have said anything. It was rude of me. Georgina was completely humiliated to have to publicly apologize to save face, but she had no choice. Thank you. And now you know. Olivia smiled. I hope you'll be more thoughtful about what you say in the future. It'll be a lot easier to make friends while you're new in town. Georgina nodded but did not meet Olivia's eyes. She was more furious than she had ever been. How did she humiliate me more than once tonight? I'll get you back for this, Olivia. Georgina's mother looked absolutely mortified at her daughter's blatant rudeness. Her face was a canvas of shock and dismay, her eyes wide as she glanced apologetically at the small crowd that had gathered around them. Olivia, her expression steely and unyielding, fixed Georgina with a look that spoke volumes. It was clear she was ready to stand her ground in defense of her friend Lena. Georgina's mother quickly intervened, her voice trembling slightly with embarrassment. I am so terribly sorry for my daughter's behavior. Georgina has been abroad for so long it seems she's forgotten some of her manners. It's been difficult for her to adapt to being back in New York. She's not used to feeling like an outsider. Her defensive attitude, it's just her way of coping with the change. Olivia, her arms crossed, looked distinctly unimpressed by the explanation. Being abroad is no excuse for rude behavior. It seems like Georgina just doesn't want to fit in, but wants to take over and control everyone now that she's back. Georgina's mother's face flushed with a mix of anger and embarrassment. That's quite an accusation to make, young lady. Georgina is just adjusting. It's not fair to judge her so harshly. Olivia's voice was firm, her stance unwavering. Adjusting doesn't mean you get a free pass to insult and belittle others. Georgina's actions speak louder than any adjustment excuses. Georgina's mother bristled at Olivia's words, her voice rising slightly. My daughter has always been strong-willed, but she's not malicious. You're painting a very unfair picture of her. Olivia countered sharply. Strong-willed doesn't mean stepping on others. Georgina needs to understand that her actions have consequences. Georgina's mother's face reddened with rising anger as Olivia continued to speak critically about her daughter. Olivia, undeterred, pressed on with a pointed tone. Let's not sugarcoat it. Georgina's behavior goes beyond adjusting. Just yesterday, she was incredibly rude to an assistant at the dress store. She mocked her, made her do unnecessary work, and then argued about the price of a dress. Georgina's rage was visibly boiling over, her fist clenched at the side as Olivia continued. Her mother's voice trembled with anger. That's quite enough, young lady. You're speaking about things you don't fully understand. Olivia's response was relentless. Understanding doesn't change facts. Georgina refused to pay for the $13,000 dress that she ruined. She was rude, hurtful to the store assistant when she couldn't afford it, and then tried to leave the store without paying. Internally, Georgina seethed with resentment. I hate her so much. If we weren't at this gala, I'd shut her up myself. Olivia continued, her words sharp and unyielding. It didn't stop there. She tried to steal the dress. Morgana and I had to call the police because of her behavior. She was trying to steal, being harmful and difficult, and before that, she even tried to slap me. Francis's parents, who had been listening, looked visibly shocked and surprised at these revelations. Olivia's voice rose slightly with emotion. Being arrested isn't a being abroad too long problem. It's because Georgina is just a terribly rude person. It's not about adjusting. It's about decency and respect, something Georgina clearly lacks. Georgina's mother, now visibly upset, tried to interject, but Olivia pressed on. I'm sorry, but the truth is important. Georgina's actions have consequences, and they reflect on her character, not her time abroad. Francis returned to the scene with Lena by his side. He was immediately struck by the palpable tension hanging in the air between Olivia, Georgina, and Georgina's mom. His face etched with confusion. He glanced at his parents, noting their expressions of shock directed at Georgina. Internally, Francis pondered, "What's happened here? Why are Mom and Dad looking at Georgina like that? Did I miss something big?" Georgina, her attention momentarily diverted from the heated exchange, caught sight of Francis and Lena. Her shock was evident upon seeing Lena in a wheelchair. In her mind, Georgina's thoughts raced disparagingly. This is his girlfriend? Her? She's so boring. So basic, so bland. How could he be interested in her? She's like a cardboard box compared to me. No style, no flair, I don't get it. Francis Handler, what are you thinking? Francis turned to his parents with a questioning look. "Mom, Dad, what's all this about? I feel like I've walked into the middle of a storm." His mother, still looking somewhat shocked, replied, "We're not exactly sure, Francis, but it seems there's more to Georgina Crawford than we knew." Intrigued, Francis asked, "What did you find out about her?" Before his parents could elaborate, Georgina interjected with a flirtatious tone, turning the conversation towards Francis. "Francis, we barely got to chat earlier. I was hoping to catch more of your attention tonight. You're quite the man of the hour." Francis, who had been trying to get a clearer picture of the situation, found himself redirected by Georgina's charm offensive. He attempted to steer the conversation towards Lena. "Actually, Georgina, I wanted to introduce you properly to—" Georgina, however, brushed past the introduction, continued to focus on Francis. "Oh, Francis, I was just telling your parents about my time in Europe. I'm sure someone as worldly as you would find it fascinating." Lena, sitting quietly in her wheelchair, her expression a mix of annoyance and resignation, watched as Georgina skillfully commandeered the conversation. Undeterred by Francis's attempts to speak, Georgina continued her one-sided flirtation. "You must be so busy with all these gala responsibilities, Francis. It's impressive, really. We should catch up over coffee, maybe. I'd love to hear about all your experiences." Francis, attempting to interject and bring Lena into the conversation, found himself continuously cut off by Georgina's relentless chatter. "Actually, Georgina, Lena and I—" But Georgina was on a roll, ignoring Lena and keeping her focus on Francis. "There's so much I want to ask you, Francis, about the gala, your interests. You really are an intriguing person." Lena's irritation was evident, but she remained silent, watching the interaction unfold. Finally, seizing a moment of pause in the conversation, Francis interjected with deliberate emphasis. "Georgina, I'd really like you to meet someone important to me. This is Lena, my girlfriend." Georgina, caught slightly off guard, quickly donned her fakest smile and switched to her most charmingly insincere voice. "Oh, Lena, it's so lovely to meet you. Francis has told me, well, practically nothing about you. How delightful." Lena, instantly picking up on Georgina's disingenuous tone, turned her nose up slightly, her intuition screaming alerts. She responded with a dismissive politeness that thinly veiled her immediate dislike. "Nice to meet you too, Georgina." Internally, Lena was already forming a solid opinion of Georgina. "I know a mean girl when I see one, and Georgina is one very mean girl. No thanks." Georgina's smile faltered momentarily at Lena's dismissiveness, her annoyance flickering across her face before she quickly masked it with politeness. In her mind, she thought, "How dare she dismiss me like that? But keep it together, Georgina, play nice, and soon enough, you'll be the one he's introducing as his girlfriend." Francis, eager to excuse himself and Lena from the increasingly uncomfortable situation, politely addressed Georgina. "It's been nice to catch up, Georgina, but Lena and I should mingle a bit." Georgina, masking her frustration with a practical, saccharine smile, flirted one last time before departing. "Of course, Francis, do enjoy the gala. We'll have to continue our conversation another time." Francis looked distinctly uncomfortable with Georgina's advances, his expression a mix of confusion and politeness. Lena, meanwhile, was visibly annoyed by Georgina. She rolled her eyes subtly as she turned her wheelchair towards the other part of the gala, only to see a flight of stairs blocking their path. Her frustration was evident as she sighed loudly. Oh great, stairs, because why would anyone think to make things accessible? Lena complained. It's like they didn't consider that anyone in a wheelchair might want to enjoy the gala. Lena sighed, her irritation growing. It's not just the stairs either, it's everything. There are hardly any options for people who can't just walk around. This is so frustrating. Morgana, trying to lighten the mood, chimed in. Well, at least you've got Francis to carry you everywhere. That's one way to navigate the gala. Lena shot back. I don't want to be carried around the whole night, Morgana. That's not exactly my idea of fun. Morgana was a little taken aback by Lena's tone, but Lena's complaints kept flowing in a steady stream. I just wanted to have a normal time at the gala, enjoy it like everyone else. But with this wheelchair, it feels impossible. Morgana teased. You do complain a lot, Lena. How does Francis put up with it? Francis, joining in the banter with a lighthearted tone, joked, I've gotten used to Lena's complaints. Compared to when we first met, she's actually much less annoying. The group, expecting a more tender response, looked at Francis in shock and concern. Their expressions a mix of disbelief and surprise at his unexpectedly mean joke. The mood shifted momentarily, everyone waiting to see how Lena would react to Francis's teasing remark. Lena's heart sank. How could he say that about me? She wondered, his hurtful words still stinging deeply. Does he really even care about me? The room fell into a stunned silence following Francis's offhand joke about Lena. Every eye turned towards them, expressions ranging from horrified to shocked. The atmosphere, once lively with gala festivities, now bristled with an uncomfortable tension. Francis's parents, standing a short distance away, were visibly shocked and mortified by their son's comment. Their faces betrayed their disbelief, as if they couldn't comprehend that such words had come from Francis. In stark contrast, Georgina and her mother exchanged a quick, knowing glance, their eyes lighting up with unspoken delight. They both struggled to suppress their smiles, keenly aware of the potential opportunity that had just presented itself. Internally, Georgina couldn't help but feel a surge of opportunistic glee. This might be easier than I thought. If Francis is already this annoyed with Lena's complaining, maybe he doesn't care for the crippled girl as much as everyone thinks. Perfect. Her mother, observing the scene with a calculating eye, thought to herself, there's definitely an opening here. Georgina could easily win Francis over, especially now. His becoming her fiancé would be just what our family needs to strengthen our position. Francis, suddenly realizing the impact of his words, looked both confused and embarrassed. His attempt at humor had clearly misfired, and now he faced the consequences of his poorly chosen joke. Lena, who had been smiling just moments ago, now looked at Francis with hurt and disbelief in her eyes. It was evident that his comment had struck a deeper chord than he had intended. Francis, seeing the hurt he had caused, looked back at Lena with an apologetic expression, his eyes conveying regret. He opened his mouth to speak, but words seemed to fail him at the moment. Before Francis could formulate an apology, Georgina, seizing the opportunity, interjected with feigned concern. Lena, I'm sure Francis didn't mean what he said. It was clearly just a slip of the tongue, a mistake. Lena, already annoyed by Georgina's earlier behavior, looked at her with visible irritation. And how would you know what Francis meant, Georgina? You barely know him or anyone here for that matter. Georgina, not deterred by Lena's sharp retort, continued, Well, it's just obvious, isn't it? Francis wouldn't intentionally hurt anyone. He's just got a quirky sense of humor, that's all. Lena's patience was wearing thin. She snapped back. Quirky humor? More like insensitive. And I don't need you to interpret Francis for me, thanks. Francis, still struggling to find the right words, finally managed to speak. Lena, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to be funny and I messed up. Lena's expression softened slightly, but she was still clearly hurt. I know you didn't mean it, Francis, but words matter, especially in front of all these people. Georgina, sensing an opening, added with a sly smile. See, Lena, Francis is sorry. It was just a misunderstanding. We all say things we don't mean sometimes. Lena gave Georgina a cold look. Thanks for the input, Georgina, but I can handle this myself. Frances tried to smooth things over. Lena, I really am sorry. I value you more than you know. I just got carried away with trying to be funny. Lena nodded, indicating she heard his apology. She was still upset, but she knew Frances didn't mean to hurt her like that. Georgina's mother, witnessing the escalating tension, felt a wave of concern. Internally, she fretted. Georgina can't afford to make another enemy, especially after her spat with Olivia. She needs to smooth things over quickly. Eager to defuse the situation, Georgina's mother stepped forward with a diplomatic air. Lena, dear, I think you and Georgina just got off on the wrong foot. You two should really try to be friends. Frances's parents, picking up on the cue, nodded in agreement. Absolutely. It would be wonderful to see Georgina and Lena getting along. They have so much in common, Frances's mother added. The parents began to subtly yet insistently nudge Georgina and Lena closer to each other. Both girls looked distinctly uncomfortable with this forced proximity. Georgina's mother continued, her voice brimming with eagerness. Georgina, why don't you tell Lena about your travels? I'm sure she'd love to hear about your experiences. Frances's parents joined in, desperately trying to spark a conversation between the two girls. Yes, Lena, Georgina has been to some fascinating places. You two could share stories. Georgina, caught off guard by her mother's insistence, tried to play along. Yeah, Lena, I've been to some interesting places. Have you ever traveled much? Lena, still feeling the sting of their earlier exchange, replied curtly. Not as much as I'd like, but I'm more interested in other things like gaming. Georgina's mother, undeterred by the lukewarm response, pressed on. See, you both have diverse interests. There's so much you can talk about. Frances's parents, sensing the awkwardness but determined to foster a connection, added, Exactly, it's wonderful to make new friends, especially ones with such unique backgrounds. Georgina and Lena exchanged glances, both clearly uncomfortable with the parents' well-meaning but forceful attempts at matchmaking friendship. Lena had no interest in being friends with Georgina, but she did want to smooth things over for the sake of the handlers and their gala. Seeking common ground, she ventured a question to Georgina. Do you play video games? Georgina looked visibly uncomfortable, clearly out of her element. Well, I know of games, but I haven't really played much. Seizing the opportunity, Lena's interest piqued. Which games do you know? Any favorites? Georgina hesitated, struggling to come up with a name. Well, there's that one game, Lena, sensing Georgina's struggle, began listing off popular titles. Do you know War of the Titans? How about Epic Quest? Storebound Adventures? Legend of the Ancients? With each name Lena mentioned, Georgina's confusion grew, her face a clear indicator she was unfamiliar with any of them. Seeing Georgina's bewildered expression, Lena concluded, If you don't know any of these games, I don't think we can really be friends. She then wheeled off in her chair, leaving Georgina behind. Moments later, Morgana approached Georgina, eyeing her up and down with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, as if trying to size her up. Georgina noticed the stares from the strange girl and rolled her eyes into staying, clearly unimpressed. The two girls faced each other, their body language tense, as if they were ready for a verbal showdown at any moment. Morgana asked nonchalantly, So, Georgina, do you like bugs? Georgina looked at Morgana with a mix of disgust and incredulity. Bugs? Ew, no, bugs are gross, I hate them. Morgana frowned, a hint of offense in her expression. Without another word, she turned and walked away from Georgina, leaving her standing alone. The room's focus shifted as Devin Garibaldi made her entrance, immediately drawing some attention away from Georgina. She approached Frances's parents with a confident grace. Good evening. Devin greeted them warmly. Georgina's mother's eyes widened in recognition at the mention of the Garibaldi name. She quickly saw an opportunity and eagerly began to maneuver Georgina towards Devin. Georgina, dear, you must meet Devin Garibaldi. You two have so much in common, she said with enthusiasm, pulling Georgina along. Devin looked Georgina over skeptically. while Georgina tried to make a genuine introduction. Hi, I'm Georgina Crawford. It's really nice to meet you, Devin. Nice to meet you, Georgina, Devin replied, her tone polite but guarded. Georgina's mother, unable to contain her excitement, squealed, Oh, you two are going to be the best of friends. Both Georgina and Devin exchanged uncomfortable glances, clearly not feeling an instant connection. Devin cleared her throat. So, Georgina, what are your interests? Travel? Fashion? Georgina, struggling to match Devin's interests, replied hesitantly. Well, I like social events, and I've traveled a bit. Devin, not finding a hook yet, pressed on. Do you enjoy reading? I'm always looking for book recommendations. Yes, I love reading. It was a lie, but Georgina was desperate to have a normal conversation at this point. Devin's face fell. Really? I actually find reading the most boring thing on the planet. It seems like we don't have much in common, Georgina. It was nice meeting you, though. She then excused herself, leaving Georgina standing there, bewildered and embarrassed. Georgina turned to her mother, her eyes brimming with tears of humiliation. Without a word, they quietly excused themselves from the party. From a distance, Olivia watched the scene unfold. She gave Devin, Lena, and Morgana a congratulatory pat on the back. Her expression was one of pride and satisfaction as she watched Georgina leave the gala in embarrassment. Francis's parents looked visibly perturbed as they observed Olivia's interaction with Georgina. His father approached Olivia with a mix of concern and curiosity. Olivia, that seemed a bit intense. Was it really necessary to treat Georgina in such a manner? Olivia, keen to clarify her stance, explained, I understand your concern, but you should know that Georgina was extremely rude and hurtful to both me and Morgana just yesterday. Her behavior is not as innocent as it may seem. Morgana quickly chimed in. Yeah, she's been incredibly mean and cruel. What you saw was just a reaction to her ongoing behavior. Olivia continued, her tone serious. And there's something else. I think you should be wary of the Crawfords. They might not be the only source of trouble at this gala. I have a feeling something more might happen tonight. Francis's father sought to reassure her. We appreciate your concern, Olivia. Our family has faced challenges before. We're prepared for whatever this evening might bring. His mother, however, had a more proactive approach. In fact, I've taken the liberty of calling in some assistance, just in case things escalate beyond our control. Francis's father looked surprised and slightly alarmed. You've called for backup? I hope you're not expecting anything too drastic. She responded with a hint of resolve in her voice. We can't take any chances. I'll do my best to ensure everything remains under control, but in situations like this, it's hard to make promises. I have a feeling someone may not live out the night. You can't be serious. Francis and his dad were visibly appalled at the mere suggestion of someone being killed at the gala. Their expressions were a mix of shock and disbelief. In contrast, Morgana and Olivia didn't seem as surprised by the notion. Olivia, with a hint of nonchalance, said to Francis's mother, Given the kind of people involved tonight, I wouldn't be too surprised if things got out of hand and someone had to, Francis's father, increasingly anxious, glanced around the room, his eyes wide with concern that their conversation might be overheard. He leaned in, his voice low and urgent. Please, let's be a bit more discreet when discussing matters of life and death. He then turned to his wife, asking in a hushed tone, And these friends you mentioned, will they ensure to keep a low profile if their services are needed? Francis's mother nodded, her voice equally subdued but firm. They're professionals, dear, you know that. They're your friends, too. They'll get the job done and try to keep the handler's name out of it. But if the threat is loud and abrasive, they'll have to react accordingly. Morgana leaned towards Olivia and whispered, I'm glad I brought my bugs. Looks like they might come in handy after all. Olivia, her gaze sweeping the room, was deep in thought, assessing each guest and pondering who the potential threat could be. Her expression was one of calculation and readiness, prepared for whatever the night might bring. Across the room, on the outskirts of the party, Georgina paced next to her mother, her anger barely contained. The two of them had found a dark, quiet corner to continue their plotting. Georgina's words came out in a heated torrent. I can't stand Olivia. The nerve of her calling me out in front of everyone. She continued her rant, her frustration mounting with every word. How dare she turn everyone against me like that, publicly humiliating me and making me look like some kind of monster? Georgina's mother watched her daughter with a mix of concern and sympathy, feeling bad for the ordeal she was going through. Georgina's voice rose, her anger palpable. I wish I could just destroy Olivia. Rip her throat out for what she's done to me. I hate her. And I hate Lena, Morgana, Devin, and all of Olivia's little friends. They took such pleasure in trying to embarrass me and making me feel like an outsider. Breathing heavily from her outburst, Georgina vowed, I swear, I'll make Olivia and all of her friends pay for treating me so cruelly. They'll regret ever crossing me. Her mother, trying to calm her down, cautioned her, Georgina, please, let's not make a scene. We don't want any more negative attention. Georgina, irritated by her mother's warning, shot back. Is all this humiliation, embarrassment, ridicule, and judgment worth it just so I can marry Francis one day? I don't even know if I want to marry Francis. There are plenty of other rich boys in New York who can see that I'm fabulous. Boys who aren't hung up on some basic girl who can't walk and aren't friends with Olivia. Her mother, trying to reassure her, replied, Everything will be worth it once Francis proposes to you. You just need to be patient. Georgina complained, But why? Why will it all be worth it? Her mother leaned in, her voice lowering to a mysterious tone. Because, Georgina, the Handler family is more than meets the eye. There are things at play here that you don't understand yet, but marrying into their family is crucial for us. Georgina, taken aback by her mother's cryptic statement, was left to ponder the deeper implications of her mother's words. Georgina's mother scanned the room thoughtfully, her mind clearly strategizing their next move. She turned to Georgina, her voice firm yet reassuring. Even if you don't want to try wooing Francis right now, you should at least try to find some friends here. It's important to blend in and not stand out for the wrong reasons. Georgina, still seething from their earlier confrontation, retorted, I have no desire to woo Francis at the moment, especially if he's going to act so disinterested and follow Olivia and Lena around like some sick puppy. It's pathetic. Her mother, understanding but insistent, advised, You might not want to pursue Francis now, but eventually, you will have to make him fall for your charm. It doesn't have to be tonight, but it's part of our plan. Georgina rolled her eyes at the mention of Francis's name, her annoyance clear. Georgina's mother noticed her daughter's annoyance. She made her tone both encouraging and strategic. Georgina, you need a tight group of friends to make a successful return to the country and to acclimate to the New York scene. It's essential for our plans. Georgina, still feeling the sting of her earlier encounter, replied, But Mom, Olivia seems hell-bent on making sure I don't make a single friend here. She's turned everyone against me. Her mother, unwavering in her confidence, reassured her. You are smart as a cookie and tough as a nail, Georgina. Olivia can't stop you from doing anything. You have the charm and wit to win over anyone. Don't let Olivia take away your power. You are stronger than that. You are a Crawford, and we don't cower in the face of adversity. Her mother's voice grew more impassioned as she continued. You are charming enough to sell water to a whale, Georgina. You can go out there and make all the friends you need to not just survive, but thrive. You can take Olivia down. Georgina felt a surge of encouragement from her mother's words. Her confidence, which had been shaken earlier, now began to grow, bolstered by her mother's belief in her. With renewed vigor, she straightened her posture, her demeanor changing from one of defeat to one of determination. You're right, Mom. I won't let Olivia or anyone else keep me down. I'll make my own way here. Her mother smiled, proud of Georgina's resolve. That's my girl. Now go out there and show them the true Georgina Crawford. Make friends and allies, and remember, we're playing the long game. Georgina, now full of newfound confidence, stepped back amongst the partygoers. Her stride was more assured, her gaze more determined. She was ready to face the gala with the charm and cunning that her mother knew she possessed. Georgina strode with renewed confidence and approached a random group of girls at the gala. She greeted them with a smile. "Hi, it's so nice to meet all of you." One of the girls with a friendly demeanor asked, "Hello, what's your name?" "I'm Georgina Crawford," she replied with a hint of pride in her voice. One girl in the group, her interest piqued, leaned forward. "Crawford? Are you related to the Nevin family by any chance?" Georgina, both surprised and intrigued that someone knew of the Nevins and cared about the name, responded, "Yes, I am. It's surprising you know about them. They're not exactly headline news." The girl's eyes lit up with genuine interest. "Oh, but they are. I've been following the Nevins' rise in the New York business scene. They're fascinating." Georgina felt a wave of relief wash over her, relieved to find someone who was open to talking to her without any preconceived notions. "That's quite interesting. I didn't realize they were gaining attention. By the way, what's your name?" The girl smiled warmly, extending her hand. "I'm Beatrix Cooper. It's really great to meet someone from the Nevin family." Georgina, taken aback but pleasantly surprised, shook Beatrix's hand, her spirits lifted by this unexpected but welcome interaction. For the first time that evening, Georgina felt like she was finally making a connection. Beatrix warmly welcomed Georgina into the group. "Guys, this is Georgina Crawford. She's part of the Nevin family." The girls greeted Georgina and continued with their separate conversations. Hallie Anderson, one of the other girls in the group, took a moment to ask Beatrix about her sister. "Hey, Beatrix, when is Melanie coming back to the States? I really miss her." Beatrix, slightly hesitant, replied, "Oh, Melanie, I'm not really sure when she'll be back. She's got a lot going on." Hallie looked at Beatrix with a hint of suspicion but didn't press further, turning her attention to Georgina instead. "So, Georgina, where are you from exactly? And where do you go to school?" Georgina was just happy to be a part of the conversation. "I've been studying abroad for the past few years, but I'm trying to transfer into Marshall High." At the mention of Marshall High, all the girls groaned and rolled their eyes. One of them exclaimed, "You don't want to go there, trust me. The worst, most manipulative, and terrible girl goes to Marshall." Curious, Georgina asked, "Who are you talking about?" All the girls in unison said, "Olivia Johnson." They continued to warn Georgina, "Stay far away from her, she's trouble." One girl added, "I can't stand her. She thinks she's all that, but she's just a mean girl." Another chimed in, "Yeah, Olivia Johnson is the worst. Everyone at Marshall either fears her or hates her." Georgina could barely contain her excitement as she realized she had found a group that shared her hatred of Olivia. Maybe her return to the States wouldn't be so bad after all. "You are mine, I will crush you." Lena's eyes glinted as she spoke to the full lobster on the plate in front of her. Its glassy eyes stared back. Next to her, Olivia looked nervously around at the important business people she was planning to impress and socialize with. She whispered, "Are you sure that's what you want to eat at an event like this?" Lena shrugged. "They put it out. Was I not supposed to choose this?" "It's just the messiest food ever," Olivia replied. Her own plate in front of her had food that exclusively could not be eaten with the fork, did not need to be crushed, and did not have a face. "It's so good, though," Lena protested, tucking her napkin into the front of her dress as Olivia looked away. "It's like one of my favorite foods. They even let me get extra butter." Morgana joined them, setting down her own plate with another tomato-red crustacean. "Did you guys see they had lobster?" she said, excited. "They're like the bugs of the sea." "Ew, please don't remind me." Lena wrinkled her nose as she tried to crack open one of the claws. Morgana tucked in her own napkin. "You know you're wasting time if you don't eat the brains. They're so good." "Ah!" Lena protested. "Then can I have yours?" Morgana asked. At that, Olivia grabbed her glass of champagne and stood. I am going to go mingle. I'll catch up with you guys later. Olivia briefly noted to herself that she felt more comfortable with her older business peers than her best friends. She had lived a whole separate life without them that ended in her 20s, so it made sense that they weren't exactly aligned all the time. But moments, where they felt a little distant and immature, made Olivia feel sad. From where Lena and Morgana sat, happily tearing apart their lobsters, they admired how Olivia moved through the crowd with ease. She's so awesome, Lena said. She's really good at socializing. Morgana nodded in agreement. Yeah, she looks so elegant. And looking at her now, you would never know she's the same girl who snored with her mouth open through the night last night. Lena struggled with one of the lobster's smaller joints. Is that tough to sleep through? Morgana thought for a moment. You know, it's not. She's kind of like the ocean. As Lena continued to struggle with her lobster, Morgana wordlessly took over, finishing cracking open the remaining shell for Lena. Lena noticed a group of girls chatting across the hall, cackling to each other and tossing their hair. Morgana, look, she pointed. Isn't that Georgina with a whole group? Morgana looked over and smiled. Yes, it is. How cute. She must have finally found a group of friends. Lena nodded. All of those people look better for her than we were. I really don't understand why she wants to be friends with us when we have literally nothing in common. I think I'm very picky when it comes to deciding who my friends are. Yeah, Morgana agreed emphatically. She doesn't like bugs, so I don't like her. Lena hesitated. She really wanted to say that she also did not like bugs, but as she watched Morgana fixing her plate for her, she felt like it was better to keep those thoughts to herself. In a different part of the room, Mark DeLillo stood to the side, savoring a glass of red wine as he surveyed the crowd. Everyone is really getting along, he thought silently to himself. The handlers certainly have made a lot of friends over the years who shut up for them tonight, but it looks like the people I'm waiting for have not yet arrived, and when they finally get here, the fun can really begin. Mark smirked, looking forward to his plans for the night. He noticed Olivia laughing with some businessmen. Enjoy your night, Olivia, Mark thought. You won't be smiling for much longer. Let's see if you try to find a way to smile later tonight. I don't think you'll be laughing then. Olivia glanced over and did a double take, noticing Mark was watching her. She smiled faintly and returned back to her conversation. She said goodbye to the businessmen before turning to walk toward Jared Nevin, who was also standing alone. Jared was watching his brother Jake, who was surrounded by socialites and businessmen eager for his attention. He was the upcoming leader of the Nevin family, so they flattered and toasted him. Jared sighed, thinking silently. At least some of them must notice what a dunce he is. But none of them would say that because they want to use him and his power. Olivia noticed as she approached Jared that even Georgina and her mother, in all their social desperation, did not come to pay Jared any attention. Olivia faced Jared and smiled. Do you mind if I interrupt? Jared couldn't help but laugh out loud. Interrupt? He gestured at the emptiness around him. Chairman Johnson, do you think the reason that nobody is drinking and talking with me is because they're afraid to interrupt me? Or do you think it's because the second son in the Nevin family has no value or power? Olivia raised her eyebrows. Maybe both. But I think all of this is lucky for me. If you were the oldest son in the Nevin family, I would not have the opportunity to poach you and have you come to work for me. Jared sipped his wine to avoid answering her, but smiled. After all, Olivia continued, not every big family patriarch is willing to give away their eldest child so they could come work for me. Jared laughed. If Jeff could hear what you just said, he might go hide behind the curtains in embarrassment. Olivia waved her hand. Oh, he's used to it. Yeah, the place I go hide is usually under my desk, though. They both turned to see that Jeff had appeared behind them with Violet Cartwright. But I keep blankets and snacks under there so I can self-soothe. Olivia thought to herself that Violet looked incredible. Her blood-red dress and matching lip color created an overall effect that was devilish and intense. Olivia realized that this reminded her of somebody. Violet, you're the second person I've seen who is this strikingly suitable for the color red. Is that so? Violet asked, and thank you, I'm really flattered. Who was the first person? Do I get to meet them? If we get the chance, I'll definitely introduce her to you. Olivia was thinking of Vera. She thought that Vera and Violet's personalities could actually be a great match. Sure, thank you. Violet smiled. Olivia wasn't the only one who thought Violet looked striking. She glanced away from Olivia and caught Jeff Dreyer staring at her. He cleared his throat, pretending to be very interested in the chandelier. Olivia, Jeff said, you must maintain a certain distance from your employees. I'm not sure it's okay to comment on her appearance that way. Violet frowned at him. She thought to herself, what a tactless thing to say. Why did he say that now? Olivia sensed the tension between Violet and Jeff and hurriedly tried to smooth things over. It's fine, don't forget, everyone has a mission to focus on for the evening. Violet scanned the crowd. I know. She found Mark DeLillo and saw that he was already staring at her. Violet immediately put on her more demure persona. She lowered her head and smiled shyly at him, up through her eyelashes. Mark smirked back, raising his wine in the air to her. He put his other hand in his pocket and pulled his shoulders back, trying to appear strong, cool, and in control, which is what he imagined she wanted to see. Jeff noticed that Violet blushed as Mark toasted her. She's actually blushing, he thought indignantly. Huh. Jeff snorted, rolling his eyes at this interaction. His face looked openly hostile at Mark DeLillo. He turned to Violet. You seem so hungry that you'd even eat a piece of poisoned cake if it was set in front of you. Violet smiled defiantly. Looks can be deceiving, Jeff. Don't worry, I am also a picky eater. Sometimes if someone is trying too hard to push something on me, I won't even take a bite. She tilted her head and blinked innocently. Like you. As far as food goes, you're a discount, bargain bin, everything must go kind of food. Like a buffet item that's been sitting out for too long. It's a little much. I wasn't, Jeff choked, that you misunderstood. Olivia held up her hands to interrupt them. Stop, the two of you. She lowered her voice, looking around. Remember our original plan. Let's begin. Yes, Jeff nodded. Yes. Violet nodded as well. Olivia smiled, narrowing her eyes at the room around them. When it's go time, you can't afford to hesitate. Everything depends on that. Be careful, Olivia warned Violet and gave her a meaningful look. I know, Violet reassured her. You know I can handle myself. She turned away and facing Jeff muttered to him, Don't you dare watch me walk away. She shooed him with her hand. Move aside. His mouth hung open in indignation, but he did as she said and let her pass. He realized he was watching Violet go, shook his head and turned to Olivia. The attitude on her. Your executive assistant is bullying me, the vice president, of the whole company. Olivia smiled. I think it's all right. It's quite fun for me to see the two of you like this. She keeps you on your toes. Olivia looked to Jared Nevin. Isn't it fun? Jared smirked, avoiding Jeff's glare. It really is, he admitted. That was the first time he had seen Jeff Dreyer flustered, and it amused him. Jeff, with all of his psychology training, was normally the one in control of a situation, and could typically read other people very well. It was really difficult for anyone to mess with him or get the upper hand in a conversation. Sometimes he seemed to know everything about a person with just a glance. Jeff shook his head, his cheeks reddening. I have not been careful enough in choosing my friends, obviously. You two are shameless. Olivia realized that it was odd her dad had not appeared at the gala, and her smile disappeared. I'll leave you two to chat. I need to give my dad a call about why he isn't here yet. Olivia was worried because Michael Johnson had always been a very punctual person. He knew this gala was important, and she couldn't imagine that he would decide not to come or arrive late if it were within his control. She tried not to start imagining the worst-case scenarios. Wait a minute. Jeff put a hand on Olivia's arm and lowered his voice. What exactly did you ask Violet to do? Olivia enjoyed Jeff's curiosity and wanted to keep coy. I asked her to grab me some dessert. She has a gifted eye for sweets. Jeff narrowed his eyes. You're lying to me. I think you don't want to tell me. Olivia patted his shoulder. Just keep Jared company. Have fun with him. Remember to introduce a few of your friends to him. Don't ask me about this anymore. Jeff sighed, irritated, but held his tongue. Women, he thought silently. Why are they both like this? It all started with my mother, didn't it? Jeff's rumination was interrupted by Jared's loud laughter. Jeff, do you follow this account that shares memes for high-level executives? You'll love this. Jeff refused to look at Jared's phone. Jared, I need to introduce you to some of my friends. They're all people I think you'd get along with, and who knows, maybe we'll all work together in the future. Jared shrugged and nodded, putting his phone away. Jared thought to himself that it didn't really matter that Olivia and Jeff wanted something from him, because they were trying to introduce him to important people and give him some other substantial help. He might as well see what he could get before he had to make a real decision. But from afar, Mark DeLillo watched Jeff and Jared having a good time together and frowned. He thought angrily to himself, is Olivia trying to rope Jared Nevin into her company? Mark strolled casually over to Violet, who was picking up a new glass of wine nearby. He scooped up a sparkling pink cocktail from a bartender and held it out to her. I think this beauty suits you very well, he said softly to her. The color is gorgeous, the smell is juicy and delicious, and the taste is sweet and sour. President DeLillo. Violet took a small step back in surprise. Mark smiled. Did I scare you? Violet hesitated. No. She smiled and shook her head. I was just a little surprised, that's all. Mark laughed and took her hand, lifting it up to the cocktail and pressing it into her hand. Try it. You'll like it. Violet took a sip as he watched in anticipation. She tasted it, thinking. She smiled. I like it. It's very good. It's all the things you said. Told you so. Mark raised his eyebrows. I've good taste in drinks, but it can't match your incredible taste in dresses. My goodness. You look incredible. You really stand out from the crowd. Violet blushed and brushed her hair behind her ear shyly. You're making fun of me. Mark put his hand over his heart. I swear to you I wouldn't lie. In fact, I was worried to even talk to you. I thought I would cause trouble. Violet pretended not to understand. What trouble? Mark explained kindly. Well, you may have heard that my rose company is now competing with the park company. I am worried. He leaned in closer to Violet as he adopted a concerned expression. I would never want to cause any trouble for you, Violet. Oh, it will be fine. Violet grinned behind the cocktail glass. The chairman said she wants to make friends at the gala tonight, so she's been very busy. She pointed to Olivia, who was nearby, absorbed in conversation. The chairman is also very tired, Violet added. What about your vice president? Mark asked. I think I saw that you guys were not very happy just now, am I right? Violet paused, looking anxious. The vice president, well, he... Violet sighed and looked around before looking worriedly back to Mark. I'm going to complain to you about something I shouldn't. Can you pretend you never heard it? Mark looked pleased to find himself in the company of such a beautiful, unintelligent woman. Of course, it is my honor to serve a beauty like Violet Cartwright. Violet frowned. Jeff Dreyer is good at what he does, and he is very professional when we are working, but he has this other hobby. Hobby? Mark was confused. This wasn't what he expected to hear. He always works late, and it was just the two of us in the office one night. He left to go to the kitchen, and I accidentally saw something he had open on his computer. Violet covered her mouth like it was difficult for her to continue. Mark was rapt. What was it? Violet took a deep breath. It was a story he had written about ancient vampires. Mark's face fell. What? Violet continued. It was erotic. He had a whole author profile on this website. He's written thousands and thousands of pages of erotic vampire fan fiction. Mark's eyes twitched. Erotic vampire fan fiction? I know! Violet cried, then remembered to whisper, It's so weird. Mark glanced over to Jeff, who was talking to Jared Nevin. Violet followed his gaze. That's why he was such fast friends with Jared, she whispered. They're both incredibly into it. That's all they talk about. Mark's eyes were wide. No way. Olivia wanted Jeff to make Jared his right-hand man at the company, but now they're just rabid little vampire freaks together. They love it. Violet breathed heavily. It's been so hard to keep this inside, but I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, it's the alcohol. I should have kept my mouth shut. I shouldn't have told you the one thing that really makes Jeff or Jared happy is writing about two vampires just going to town on each other. Or vampires going to town on humans. As long as there's a vampire involved. Mark looked disgusted as he watched Jared and Jeff in conversation. President DeLillo. Violet looked up at him, pleading. You promised me you would act like I never said anything, right? I really need that from you. I could lose my job. Mark nodded and tried to look reassuring. Of course, I will definitely keep my mouth shut. Your secret is safe with me. Violet looked relieved. Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. She put a hand briefly on his arm. Thank you for letting me vent. I won't bother you anymore. I have to make sure I don't say anything else I regret. Violet left Mark, his mind reeling. If Jared really bonded with Jeff over this vampire fiction, he thought miserably to himself, do I have to pretend to like that too to win Jared over? Mark looked like he wanted to vomit, debating with himself about what to do. I really need Jared for my company, especially since Olivia wants Jared. I need her to not get him, so, can I do this? Mark looked again at Jeff and Jared. They looked deep in conversation. Mark sighed, finished his drink, and grabbed himself another one. He marched toward Jared Nevin, determined. Violet watched him in her peripheral vision and stifled a wide grin. He took the bait hook, line, and sinker. Don't you think Mr. George was interesting? Jeff slurred as he drank from his glass of whiskey. You keep complimenting his hair. That was clearly a toupee. Jared whispered fiercely to Jeff. He reached out and took Jeff's glass away. I think you should switch to water for a bit, or coffee. After Jared took away Jeff's whiskey glass, Jeff impishly grabbed Jared's wine glass. Jared shook his head, laughing. You are really going all out tonight, aren't you? They were interrupted by a voice behind them. I'm sorry to bother you two. Don't want to ruin all your fun. Jared turned to see Mark DeLillo. President DeLillo, hello, he replied politely. Could I speak to you one-on-one? Mark asked, looking between Jared and Jeff. Jared, uncertain, looked at Jeff with a questioning expression on his face. Sure, of course, no problem. Jeff waved the two of them away. Mark looked at Jeff curiously but shrugged it off. He then smiled and nodded to Jared. He walked to the other side of the hall and Jared accompanied him. What did you want to talk about, President DeLillo? Jared asked. Nothing urgent, actually, Mark said, clearing his throat. My assistant just reminded me that I was traveling to London next week, so I remembered that we made vague plans to meet up with each other. I wanted to let you know that I would like to get those plans on the calendar in the next couple of days if you have the free time. Oh, of course. Jared nodded, but he couldn't help but think that there was more Mark wanted to say. I will definitely reach out soon to make sure we can grab coffee or tea. All right. Mark cleared his throat, looking around the room nervously. Jared furrowed his brow at Mark. Was there anything else, President DeLillo? Mark took a deep breath. It's just, looking around at all these people, I keep thinking it would be so much better if they were all vampires. Jared blinked. What? Vampires. Mark repeated. Wouldn't it? Like Edward Cullen or Dracula? Love those guys. I can't help but imagine them in capes with their fangs out, can't you? Jared had no idea how to proceed. I suppose I like vampire stories. Mark leaned in closer. Uh-huh, buddy, I bet you do. And then don't you just think about all the ways that those vampires could be doing it? Oh, Jared, surprised, could not think of anything else to say. Especially Dracula, Mark continued, because he is the most powerful. So he's probably crazy good at it. Imagine all the love affairs he could have gotten up to over the centuries. Jared didn't respond, so Mark continued. It's okay, you don't have to pretend with me. I'm into it too. Okay, Jared said. Mark swirled his glass of wine. Wish this was blood, right? He took a sip and patted Jared heartedly on the back. That would be so good, yum. He walked away from Jared, pointing at him. See you very soon, let me know your schedule. Jared nodded weakly. As Mark left Jared, Mark thought silently. Wow, I really nailed that. I can't believe that was all off the top of my head. Maybe I'd be good at being one of those sick pervs. Jeff noticed from across the room that Jared stood alone, looking shell-shocked, as Mark walked away from him. Jeff rejoined Jared, who didn't react to him coming closer. Jeff waved a hand in front of Jared's face. Hey, Jared, what's wrong? Jared blinked rapidly, frowning at Jeff. I feel like I just had an out-of-body experience or was dreaming. In a good way? Jeff asked. No, Jared said quickly. Jeff was at a loss for words. I think I need some more information. I feel the same way, Jared replied. I think Mark thinks I'm very into Dracula. Dracula? Jeff asked. Dracula, Jared repeated. Jeff patted Jared's shoulder. I think you heard wrong, buddy. Or maybe it was just your imagination. I don't think so, Jared said. Jeff frowned. Are you just hearing what you want to hear? What? Jared looked helplessly at Jeff. Why would I want to hear that? Jeff nodded, not believing him. I think it'd be good if we get you some more friends. I think you need that. Come on, let's get back to business. Okay, yes, I'd really like to forget everything I just heard. Jared nodded, still feeling out of the loop on whatever happened to him. He decided to put the odd experience behind him. Come on, this way. Jeff brought Jared to yet another friend's side and introduced them. This is Jared Nevin. You may know the other Nevins around town. Jared managed to put a smile on his face. In a quiet hallway outside the gala hall, Olivia hung up her phone. She had just talked to her father, Michael, and found out that he was late because he got stuck in a car accident. He would arrive in about 10 minutes. Olivia was hugely relieved to find out that her father was safe and that none of her worst fears about what could have happened to him were real. Olivia returned to the gala hall. She picked up a small cup of raspberry chocolate mousse and found it absolutely divine, the sugar melting her stress away instantaneously. She finished the tiny portion in a couple of bites and picked up another. She realized she had missed eating any more substantial food and silently scolded herself. Violet walked to Olivia's side. Done, she said softly. Great job, Olivia replied, then handed Violet a cup of mousse. This is insanely good, try it. Violet raised her eyebrows and dug into the dessert. You are right, wow. The handlers sure know how to pick a caterer. She sighed and lowered her voice. Just now, Mark DeLillo gave me this disgusting cocktail that tasted like it was mostly powdered sugar, but it was also so sour. He said I would definitely like it. Who knows how I didn't spit that thing back out all over him. Olivia laughed lightly. It would have been bad, but part of me wishes you had. You must be a great actress. It seems like he thinks of you as a very girly young woman. Violet widened her eyes, trying to stifle her disgust at that idea. He doesn't even ask what I like, of course. He literally put it in my hand. He thinks he's a real charmer, and I don't know that anybody could ever convince him otherwise. What happens next should be very interesting. Olivia turned to Violet, her curiosity piqued. What's that? Violet whispered about her recent actions into Olivia's ears. No way. Olivia was stunned. Her eyes widened in surprise. So that is how we're playing him. Yes. Violet smiled. If I know one thing, it's how to seduce an overly confident, minimally intelligent straight man who thinks he's the one seducing me. Olivia sighed. That's Mark, all right. Olivia couldn't help her mind flash to her romance with Mark in her past life, and she remembered him pressing a cocktail into her hand and insisting that she would like it. She never liked them, of course, because Mark had terrible taste, but she'd always said she did because she liked him. And after years and years of probably hundreds, if not thousands of false, artificial moments where she thought she was connecting with Mark, but really he was just manipulating her, she had grown to love him. She had trusted him. She remembered him proposing to her and realized with disgust that the way he proposed was just generically romantic and completely impersonal. He probably looked up some guide online about how to propose. He never really knew her or cared about her, and she had loved him so much. She felt overwhelmed with pity for her past self. Well, Olivia thought silently, that version of me died. I am so much stronger now, and Mark has no idea what's coming. Olivia sighed and shook her head, dismissing her thoughts. Thank you for putting up with Mark. He really can be nauseating. Violet smiled appreciatively. Thank you for saying that. He doesn't make it easy to do my job. Olivia frowned. I've been wondering something. Why do you drag Jeff into all this? You seem always to be needling him. Violet shrugged, avoiding Olivia's gaze. It was just a convenient component that came up, so I leaned into it. I thought that it added authenticity. Violet reflected on all of her interactions with Jeff. Olivia, unable to read Violet's face, felt curious. Her temple tingled as she opened her mind up to Violet's thoughts, which was difficult in such a loud, densely crowded room. But she concentrated. Violet's thoughts finally came through loud and clear. Jeff isn't a bad guy, Violet was thinking. He just got caught up in all my bad moods. Collateral damage while I was focusing on other things. I don't want to hurt Jeff, not really. Olivia narrowed her eyes at Violet thoughtfully. Interesting, she thought. I wonder if there's something deeper going on here. I am so close to being able to pop a wheelie in this wheelchair, Lena proudly announced to Morgana as they both dug into full plates of dessert. Do you want to see? Morgana looked around at the other formally dressed guests. I do want to see that, but Olivia keeps saying this is not the time or the place to me about other things, and I feel like this is what she might say here. Ugh, Lena rolled her eyes. It would definitely be the most exciting thing to happen at one of these stuffy events. Everyone just wants to chat and make passive-aggressive comments to each other while they laugh in those high, fluttery voices. Morgana nodded. I'm just looking out for danger anyways. I timed it, and I think I can get upstairs and back down in 3 minutes if I need to. Cool, Lena replied in earnest. I wish I could help if anything goes down. I can be up on my feet for a little bit, but I'm not very mobile. And the accessibility in this place is unbelievably bad. I've never thought about that before. But Morgana was still mumbling to herself, not paying attention. Worst case, 6 minutes if the elevator isn't available. Lena's face fell. I wonder where Francis went. I did think I'd get to see him a bit more than I've been able to at this thing, but I know he's busy. Morgana scanned the crowd. Sorry, I'm not good at comforting people. Do you want me to go find him for you? No, Lena laughed. I was just talking. I'm happy I'm hanging out with you. Morgana exhaled in relief. That's great to hear. I need you to brainstorm some emergency scenarios with me. Across the room, Georgina Crawford stood in a circle with Beatrix Cooper and other young women her age, all of them sizing up people around the room with narrowed, judgmental eyes. Georgina pointed at Lena and Morgana where they sat at their table. Those two? They came with Olivia. Georgina's disgust at even saying Olivia's name practically dripped from her words. I noticed them earlier. They're so weird, another girl said with a look of disdain. They obviously don't belong here. I thought their being here was some sort of charity situation. Did the wheelchair one get to come because she's terminally ill? Her leg is just broken. Are you stupid? Another girl, Hallie Anderson, said, doling out abuse to her friend before turning her gaze back to Morgana and Lena as well. But neither of them are from any actual families. Are they super rich or something? They're not, Georgina said in indignation. They're literally useless. They're so weird, not connected, not rich. The group watched as Lena rolled back from the table and started leaning back to try to do a wheelie with her chair. Morgana put her hand on Lena's armrest, stopping her. Maybe they were hired for entertainment? Georgina laughed, and the girls in her circle laughed as well. Is it like a gesture situation? One of the girls asked. Will we get to throw food at them if they're bad? They laughed again. Another added, I mean, they both kind of look like pigs. Maybe they'd like that. Another one pouted in fake pity. Okay, you guys, maybe they're here hoping to get adopted by a real family. We can go pet them and see if they're house-trained. The girls laughed. Another one, who hadn't spoken in a while, chimed in with an evil smile. Do you think she's just in that wheelchair because she's a weird idiot? The other girls ignored her, looking like they smelled something bad, while she looked down at the floor, knowing her insult had failed. I heard she fell down some stairs, Georgina said. Maybe we can push her down some more tonight and break the other leg. The other girls laughed in agreement. Beatrix Cooper smiled slightly but did not say anything. She thought silently to herself. When I'm talking to these spoiled, rich young ladies, I try to be as prepared as I can to lower my IQ to fit in with them. I always forget how hard it is. At least they don't expect me to talk too much. As long as I show a faint smile, I should be able to work my way up the social rankings with these fools. Beatrix knew she was good at doing this kind of espionage. In fact, she did it better than anyone else. Beatrix, what do you think? Hallie asked with a side eye. If anyone was silent for too long, she would put them on to the test. Me? Beatrix paused for a moment. I think she fell down the stairs all by herself the first time, so I don't think she needs our help. After a pause with no response from any of the other girls, she smiled lightly and added, But I'm on board with trying to adopt her. I've always loved dogs that are so ugly they're cute. All of the girls around her laughed out loud again. They all acted like they were trying to hide their laughter, but in reality they exaggerated their cruel glee and purposefully drew attention from the people around them. As the laughter died down, Georgina nudged Beatrix. Why don't you go tell her you're interested? The other girl's laughter became nervous. I don't know, another girl said. She's an ugly dog and everything, but she's Olivia's friend. Wouldn't that be bad? Oh my God, don't be so boring, Georgina moaned with her eyes on the ceiling. She subtly pointed to Olivia across the room in a different area. If she were such a good friend of Olivia, she wouldn't have left her alone. Let's go. It's fine. Hallie Anderson's eyes glinted with excitement. That's right. And there are so many of us. Even if she gets mad, what would actually happen? Could Olivia even do anything about it? With that, the whole group was on board to march together and go needle Olivia's friend, who appeared powerless. Hallie had disliked Olivia from the moment she had first seen her. She hated how Miss Johnson always drew praise and attention just for existing. Let's go, Georgina said eagerly. Beatrix glanced back at Mark DeLillo. You guys go ahead. I was just called over. She flashed a devilish smile at the girls, who all saw that Mark DeLillo was looking at her. Ooh, Georgina said enviously to Beatrix. Get it, girl. Beatrix walked giddily over to Mark, her excitement melting away as she actually approached him. She just was not interested in this kind of bullying, especially when the target was Olivia's friend, but had to make an exit that wouldn't cast suspicion on herself. Another girl, seeing Beatrix leave, felt her hesitation start to rise. She wanted to find her own excuse not to partake in this attack on Lena. Her parents had warned her before the gala not to provoke Olivia Johnson. I think I have to go too because someone called me over there, she lied. The other girls looked around. Georgina frowned. Nobody called you. You're killing the vibe. Are you really just going to leave us? No. The girl quickly waved her hand. I didn't mean that at all. Then shut up and come with us. Georgina snorted and turned toward Lena. All of the girls, including their hesitant friend, followed Georgina across the room. Despite her hesitation, the prospect of being left alone at this gala was more terrifying, not to mention whatever the social retribution would be for defying the group. Morgana and Lena both eyed smoking cocktails in front of them as Georgina's group of girls smugly surrounded them. Lena turned to Morgana. "Something is happening." Morgana narrowed her eyes. "It seems like they have come with ill intentions." She threw her head back and drained the cocktail in one gulp. When she was back upright, she couldn't help but frown. "What is this? The taste was so strange." "They smoked it after they poured it. That was what that whole thing about was when they set the glass down," Lena explained, both of them ignoring the girls that were currently surrounding them. "I think you're supposed to drink it more slowly, like sip it and savor the flavors." "Really?" Morgana asked, still skeptical. Lena took a sip. "You know, that does actually taste really weird. I was wrong." Georgina shook her head, wondering silently to herself how these two idiots had embarrassed her the last time she saw them. Now that the tides had turned, she was ready to serve up some justice. Georgina interjected. "What a riveting conversation. You two are clearly the geniuses of this party." Lena looked around at the group and shrugged. "It does seem like that." She squinted at Georgina. "Who are you?" Georgina's smug expression fell, glancing nervously at her friends. She felt her body begin to fill with rage. "I'll show you exactly who I am," she thought. Georgina's eyes twitched as she wished she could strangle Lena where she sat. "I am Georgina Crawford. I know I've introduced myself to you 3 times now. You just pretended to forget my name on purpose, right? Or did you get brain damage when you fell down those stairs?" "On purpose?" Lena tilted her head. "Well, I know I didn't get any brain damage, so that's not it. I just don't really care about things that aren't important, and it's tough to remember them clearly. Something wrong?" All of the girls with Georgina looked to her for how she responded. They weren't expecting Lena to put up such a fight. "Yeah, you're the thing," Georgina retorted. Okay," Lena shrugged. "Did you say that because you take pride in being nothing?" Morgana looked puzzled. Miss Crawford's self-awareness doesn't seem to be the best. Georgina became so angry that she opened her mouth to speak and choked as she was about to retort. As she coughed, Morgana and Lena couldn't help but laugh. The girl beside Georgina stepped in. "We just wanted to come give you a kind reminder." "A reminder about what?" Lena asked, playing along. "This is the Handler family's annual gala," the girl continued. "It's really embarrassing of you to show up looking like that. If I had a broken leg and could only find a dress that looked like that, I would have just stayed home. Nobody wants to see that." Lena frowned. "What's your last name?" "What are you doing?" she responded with a smile. "Do you think we're networking right now, you freak?" "I just love your game where you say out loud what you're thinking about each other. It's very clever." Lena clapped her hands. "For my turn, I'm going to say, screw you. You look and sound like your parents are siblings, you rude hag." "How dare you?" the girl roared, but had nothing else to say in the face of Lena's unexpected rebuke. Lena shrugged. "Of course I know I'm at the Handler's annual gala, so I would never have said that if you were a handler." Morgana gave Lena a thumbs up. "That was beautiful." Lena smiled. "I've always admired the way Olivia can tear people apart with her words. After so much time with her, I think I got some of it by osmosis." Georgina jumped back in. "What do you possibly have to be proud of? You look like you're here to perform in a freak show. You're probably the poorest person here. You don't come from any important family, and it shows. Do everyone a favor and roll yourself out into traffic." Lena spoke calmly and thoughtfully. "You know what I've learned at events like this is that people from these important families can often have a weird obsession with only relating to other people from those same families. So are you just grumpy because your brother won't have it with you?" The group of girls gasped. Georgina's mouth tried to form words for a beat, but she finally managed. You have such a disgusting mouth. You're definitely going to be a poor nobody for the rest of your life. Lena looked sympathetically back at her. Listen, no matter what you say to me, it isn't going to make him want to get naked with you. I think we both know who you should really be talking to. You're disgusting, another girl said, weakly trying to defend Georgina. Hallie raised a hand toward her friend. Don't let her get you worked up. Despite what she says, she's obviously here because she desperately wants to find some desperate guy who will marry her and raise her status. But guess what? Hallie leaned down to Lena. Even if you manage to find some blind old pervert who will take you, everyone will always be able to tell that you don't belong. Lena put her hand on her chest, feigning offense. That is disgusting. We are in public. What inappropriate talk for the annual Handler Gala. You! Georgina was about to say something in response when she noticed someone walking toward them from the corner of her eye. Frances Handler. Her expression and the words she was about to say immediately changed, adopting a sanctimonious, sugary voice. Lena, we were all just making suggestions from the bottom of our hearts. We want to help you fit in. You don't have to say those nasty things. The corner of Morgana's mouth twitched. From the bottom of your hearts? Wow, what a pivot. Lena rolled her eyes. Yeah, we all know that none of you have hearts. What are you talking about? Frances asked, interrupting. Nothing, Lena replied, staring squarely at Georgina Crawford. Georgina smiled sweetly. Frances, we were just chatting with Lena, catching up. Another girl immediately chimed in. This whole event is so fun and so beautiful. Your family did a great job. Lena watched each of these girls who had just been attempting to torment her give Frances the most over-the-top flirty eyes she had ever seen. Does this actually work on guys? She wondered silently. Maybe it's because it's his gala, but I didn't realize Frances was such a hot commodity. Thank you, Frances replied to the compliment with a nod, but his expression was unreadable. Lena gave the girls a thumbs up. Wow, great job pulling a complete 180. I want to make sure all you ladies are up for acting awards this year. Exactly, Morgana agreed, swirling her cocktail glass full of ice. Compared to before Frances showed up, you're all completely unrecognizable. Lena laughed. I thought one of you was going to take a swing at me, but look at us now. What are you talking about? Georgina asked nervously. She never imagined that Lena would actually dare to say anything in front of Frances. We were obviously just joking with you. Lena shook her head. Definitely didn't look like it. Lena, you misunderstood. Hallie supported Georgina. Everyone was just here to say hi to you. We felt so bad that you couldn't get around the gala so easily. Yeah, Lena, we're all very friendly people. Another girl lied. As they talked, they all nervously kept looking at Frances as they spoke, trying to assess whether he believed them or Lena. Lena looked thoughtful. Morgana, do you remember that saying you taught me that I love? Ooh, which one? Morgana asked. I'm going to butcher it. I think it goes something like... Lena paused for a moment and cleared her throat. Every one of you is a damn liar. All of the girls' eyes immediately widened. They all wondered where this version of Lena came from and why she wasn't obeying any of the normal social rules at all. Hallie Anderson smiled an unnatural smile. Let's go over there right now, excuse us. Georgina and the rest of the girls all muttered goodbyes and excuses to Frances, but before they left, Lena took his hand in hers. It's always good to see my man. She turned to the rest of the girls. Whether my future marriage is happy or not, I know it doesn't matter to you guys, but rest assured that he is very into me as I am right now. Lena turned to Georgina and frowned. But don't keep staring at other people's men. That's really inappropriate. Georgina felt the same way she would have if Lena had reared her hand back and slapped her across the face. Georgina stared at Lena and silently said all the nastiest swears at her that she could think of. I will wipe that smug smile off your stupid face. Georgina thought silently. I will steal Frances from you and we'll see what you have to be arrogant about then. Georgina's wish to snatch Frances away from Lena was now the most sincere desire in her heart. She would definitely make it happen. The only thing more pathetic than Lena alone would be Lena abandoned and alone again. After Georgina, Hallie, and their minions left, Lena sighed. There really is no one who can put up a good fight. Morgana laughed, grinning from ear to ear. Yes, 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 you are the best. Frances squeezed Lena's hand in his, proud of her. You really did a really good job with those jerks. I'm proud to be your trophy boyfriend. Lena laughed, blushing, caught off guard for the first time in the whole conversation. Lena was about to respond when they all saw Olivia walking quickly past them. Huh? Olivia? Morgana said as she watched Olivia walk away. What do you think happened? I don't know. Lena frowned. She looks weird, though. I'll go take a look, Frances volunteered. Lena reluctantly withdrew her hand from his. Okay, be careful. I will, Frances replied. He quickly followed after Olivia, feeling worried. Something about her body language and the look on her face told him that something was very wrong. Olivia met Victoria, Michael, and Ansel Parr in a corridor outside the banquet hall, all looking very upset. Mom, what happened? Are you okay? Francis trailed behind Olivia, wondering to himself what was going on. Ansel looked serious. Miss, we didn't know you would be out here to meet us. Don't worry about us, Olivia, Victoria said, her voice shaking. Olivia felt alarmed seeing the look of panic in Victoria's voice and in both of her parents' faces. Victoria was dressed exquisitely for the event, but Olivia noticed an abrasion on Victoria's neck. Mom, what happened to your neck? It's fine, she insisted quickly. Michael frowned, supporting Victoria. That all just happened a little suddenly. His suit had a lot of wrinkles. You guys should sit down, Olivia said, looking around. Francis approached them all. Come upstairs with me. I booked a few rooms and you can rest there. Michael nodded. Yes, that's a good idea. He held Victoria's hand as she leaned on him. Olivia, you don't have to worry. It was just a small incident. Olivia nodded and didn't say anything because she didn't want to upset her parents any further. But she thought silently. A small incident. This looks like a big problem to me. Olivia, her body pumping with adrenaline, concentrated on opening her mind to her parents' thoughts. Her temple tingled with psychic electricity as she focused on the two of them. Their thinking was scattered and worried, and included thoughts about not wanting Olivia to worry. But she was able to piece together fragments of thoughts that helped her understand basically what had happened to them. As soon as Michael and Victoria's car had approached the gala, they were hounded by paparazzi trying to get a shot of them. The paparazzi caused a car accident that stuck them in traffic. When Michael, Victoria, and Ansel got out of the car, the paparazzi swarmed them. Olivia could hear the memory of the paparazzi's voices in Michael's thoughts. Victoria Park, what do you have to say to the people who insist you stole Michael Johnson away from his loving wife? Yes, Miss Park. The public wants to know why you forced Michael to leave the Johnson Company. Olivia fumed at the memories she was hearing inside her father's head. The paparazzi had shouted many more hurtful things at her parents on their way into the gala. One of the paparazzi tried to pull at Victoria to face him for a picture, causing the abrasion on her neck. Ansel had fought off the paparazzi to let Michael and Victoria get safely inside. The building's security kept the rest of the vultures out. Mark DeLillo is absolutely behind this, Olivia thought. He orchestrated this whole thing to try and make moves and trample me at this gala. I guess this is how he's trying to do it. She flared with anger at the thought of Mark endangering her parents and rattling them so much emotionally. Olivia turned to Ansel Parr. Thank you so much for being there for them during whatever happened. Are you all right? He nodded. Yes, miss. Olivia continued. Please go prepare 2 more sets of clothes for them and send them upstairs as soon as possible. Yes, miss, he replied, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. Francis gestured gently to Michael and Victoria. This way, follow me. Ansel went one way, and Francis, Michael, and Victoria left another way. Olivia stood alone for barely a second when Morgana emerged from the banquet hall. "Olivia, what happened? I saw you hurry out and was worried." "Nothing." Olivia shook her head and felt guilty for losing her composure and drawing attention to herself by rushing out of the hall. Victoria was her everything. She just had been so upset at the idea that anything had happened to her. "What do you want me to do now?" Morgana asked. A trace of coldness flashed across Olivia's eyes. "Go back to the gala. There are people waiting for us and watching what we do." "Yes." Morgana nodded. Oddly, Morgana felt a sense of joy creep into her. She did not know why, but when she saw Olivia's expression, she felt like something good was about to happen. Olivia turned and walked back toward the gala doors with her head held high. "Let's go," she said to Morgana, who hurried after her. Every step she took into the hall was firm and decisive. The bright lights and the cacophony of the party felt like they faded into muted color and noise. She had just entered the room when she spotted Jake Nevin and Mark DeLillo standing with each other. First, they looked at each other and smiled. Then they looked at her at the same time. Olivia recognized ridicule in their eyes and thought that each of them looked like they were asking for a beating. Violet Cartwright pushed Lena's wheelchair over to her. "Miss, what's wrong?" Violet asked. "Yeah, Olivia, what happened?" Lena's face was full of worry. She had never seen Olivia rushing the way she had out of the gala and would do whatever she could to help her friend. "It's fine," Olivia replied to both of them, doing her best to give them a reassuring smile. "Violet, please keep looking after Lena." Violet gave her a nod. Olivia continued, "Morgana, follow me closely with your treasures." Morgana's face lit up. "Really? I can use them now?" She subconsciously patted her hand over the hidden insects in her small purse. "Didn't you tell me not to use this to cause trouble before?" "That's because no one provoked me before," Olivia said coldly. If Mark dared to touch Victoria Park, he would have to deal with Olivia's revenge. "All right." Morgana looked side to side excitedly, and Olivia realized she must be deciding which of her insects she wanted to use. "One question. Can I kill someone?" Olivia smiled. "Not for now. If he dies too quickly, that would be more than he deserves." Morgana rolled her eyes, disappointed. "Okay," she said like a petulant child, but nodded begrudgingly. Olivia spoke low to Violet. "Spread out." Violet nodded and pushed Lena to the other side of the hall. She and Lena pretended that nothing was wrong and chatted happily with each other. Olivia walked slowly with Morgana through the thick crowd. She toasted and chatted with others. Olivia's expression was natural, and Morgana's hand danced along the edge of her purse as she thought about which of her insects to deploy. Morgana thought about the vast number of insects in the room upstairs, but she knew it wasn't the time to go upstairs to retrieve them. Now they could only stroll around while she chose between the ones she had on her. Besides, unfortunately, the lethal ones. Olivia lightly smiled and clinked her glass with the man standing opposite her. She knew him from some other social functions they'd both attended. "Oh, Director Yang, I definitely need to trouble you in the future to give me more guidance about how to make decisions as smart as yours in business. I have to pick your brain. Can I get you another glass of champagne?" "No, I haven't been one for champagne. I normally drink red wine. Even if it were plain water, I would be happy, though." He laughed heartily. "Why is your father Michael not here? I haven't seen him for some time." Olivia waved a hand. "Oh, he'll be here soon. He just called and said there was a traffic jam on the way here." "Oh, I see." Director Yang nodded. "If he's much later, I'll have to punish him with the big glass of champagne." Olivia laughed lightly. "Mr. Yang, you need to show mercy for my poor father." Director Yang smiled, his eyes shining brightly. "You are such a good, sensible daughter, Miss Johnson, but still so capable, so accomplished at your young age. Michael is really lucky to have a daughter." Another man laughed nearby. "Shouldn't you be calling her Chairman Johnson?" Olivia smiled. "You must be joking. Director Yang can just call me Olivia. And I have to keep making my rounds and saying hello to everyone at the gala." Director Yang shook his head. "See? So sensible." I'm also a good friend of Frances from school, Olivia explained. It's only right for me to say hello to everybody. I feel good about this generation being in control of New York City, Director Yang said. Our old bones are about to retire to some sunny island somewhere. Oh, absolutely not, Olivia cried. You're one of the greatest minds in business right now. We can't do a thing without you, and I mean it. Director Yang waved a hand. Now everything is in the information era. All of business is electronic. This isn't my time. My era is behind me. We, these lowly old dinosaurs, are pretty much done. We've just got to get out of your way. Olivia listened humbly as she saw, out of the corner of her eye, a man facing her who was on the phone. He wasn't far away. She subtly glanced at him as she tried to keep track of the conversation and nod at the right times. It was Mark DeLillo. He hung up his phone and walked toward her. Olivia's eyes darkened. Everything was about to begin.